Hello my friends, Magister Clavus is here again with another grimoire review. I wish you a nice day. I have here almost evening. And first of all, before we start with the review of a very interesting book that I have prepared for you, I would like to thank you all because I am having a small jubileum or something. I have achieved over 4,000 subscribers on my channel in a little bit more than a year. And without your great support, I have never ever thought that I will reach such numbers. I know that I was a little bit not for you, and my schedule of making of videos is not frequent these days, but I'm planning to make it more frequent for you. So here I am with a new video, and as you know, last time we have been reviewing the Sacred Book of Abramelin, the book of mysterious Jewish rabbi that was also speaking about the magic circles with almost divine thaumaturgic power. And I was mentioning that we will continue this series with another historical grimoire that is something a little bit like a continuation on Abramelin's book. And it's done by, it's quite old grimoire or magical system even. Practically we expect that it is from the mid of the 13th century, which is one of the oldest grimoires of medieval times. And this grimoire was not written by Jewish rabbis or Kabbalistic mystics, but was written by Christians. And the book is called the Sworn Book of Honorius, or Liber Iuratus Honorii. And this book is not just grimoire, it is a whole mystical system how to achieve divine powers, very similar to those that are mentioned by Abramelin, but Abramelin is working more with the magical circles, with he's undergoing a year and a half of very strict ritual. And this book, is practically doing the same, but from a different approach, from the approach of mystical Christianity. So, of course, those of you that are not following maybe Christian religion, or you might be coming from the Christian religion, you might have some kind of maybe, of course, many of us are atheists, the left-hand path and so on. I personally had my time when I really wanted to be even ordained monk in Christianity. So for me, this grimoire was kind of very close to my previous mindset. What is it about? As I said, it's from the middle of 13th century, and in that time we also understand that during those times it's considered as a beginning of Inquisition, very early Inquisition, but all books that are practically speaking about demons or working with the devil are considered a witchery and are being burned in many countries, yeah? And magicians of those times, we understand, were those that were practically literate. Not so many people could read and write, and the major language of Western Europe, Rome, was Latin. So those authors of this book, I believe, it's considered the Honorius, the magician, but it's practically a fictitious character. We assume that is probably a fictitious character. The book says that probably somewhere in the 9th century, but the book is from the middle of 13th, there was a communion of magicians happening in the city, which is still disputed, but we know that there were 89 magicians, mostly from Naples, Athens, Toledo, By the way, Toledo at those times were considered a city of magicians and necromancers, but I will speak about it maybe in next video. They gathered together, and they were also clergy, probably bishops, and it was a secret council where they elected the magician that is most educated from them, and his name was Honorius of Thebes. Thebes were the Greek city. Very highly, this is a fictitious character. This Honorius later on, together with these magicians, created this book, or practically a list of specific ways how to conjure, speak with angelic powers, how to connect with this with the spirit of the air, of the earth, and to get the divine powers. Historically, however, we might say that this book is not, it's just a legend. We know, and later on we found out that in the Sworn Book of Honorius, it's a compilation mostly of the Byzantine texts from ancient Greece. And we found also a lot of medieval, early Christian prayers that are in this book. Some authors think that this book was just a pseudonym for a very famous author of the medieval times, Peter de Abano, the famous author of Heptameron, for example. Or many think that it is maybe also Tritemius, the famous magician that was living in the 15th century. He is mentioning Honorius of Thebes, that actually in his that the Honorius was an author of magical alphabet, and this magical alphabet of Honorius is used practically until today in many magical circles. By the way, if you want to see how it looks like, it's quite nice because the font of the alphabet is here. This alphabet was also used later on by John Dee in his invocations and evocations and divinations of angels later on. At the time, of course, I think the book was created something like for those that were from Christian tradition, as it contains a lot of old text from Spain, France, Byzantium. It takes a lot of information from Kabbalists, of Jewish Kabbalists. But at the time there were not so many grimoires from the Christian provenience. It's a new school, but it takes a lot from other literature. Also, I think that the authors of this book, the collective of the authors, they must have been aware of the Greek texts, and they come with a similar system to the system of Abramelin the Mage, but as I say, full of prayers and meditations. But it has a very few changes and interesting developments in regards of esotericism. First of all, the first part of the book is just the legend of the 89 mages that are discussing together. It should be a secret tradition. This book should be given only to those that are member of the Christian faith, that are decided to be part of the secret order. And if there shouldn't be many copies, of course I understand, because it would be immediately attacked by Inquisition. And historically we know that the Sworn Book of Honorius was one of the most popular grimoires of the early medieval times. Maybe only the more famous was Clavicula Salomonis, the keys of Solomon, and I am not meaning the lesser key of Solomon, but the key of Solomon as an old original grimoire. To give, of course, a credit to the translator and commentator of this interesting book, it's written by Mr. Joseph Peterson, who is I at least consider one of the leading experts on the in the area of medieval magic, medieval grimoires. He is writing a lot of books. We have been mentioning also the Grimoire Verum, I think, in my previous reviews, and also many others. I'm going to review more books that are practically commentated by him. This book is considered as something that can go through academical peer review. So we are not speaking just some kind of facts taken from many different books and compiled, you know how it currently goes. Mr. Peterson is really educated in this way, and he provides practically academical sources. You can study more. He practically leads you to further study, also showing, mentioning what actually he has seen in the old libraries, many sources that are mentioning the Sworn Book of Honorius. There is a common misconception, before I go into the definitions of the book, what is inside. There is a misconception because many people, there is also another grimoire quite known, and that's called Grimoire of Honorius, but it's not the same. Grimoire of Honorius is a relatively late version. It is built on the fictional character of Honorius, but the Sworn Book of Honorius is different, and this is one of the first real translations into the English. So you have like a half of the book is in original Latin. If you do speak Latin, it's interesting to also to see the comparison between the modern English and Latin. I do speak Latin, so for me it was like interesting to compare it. Yeah. So and it's also can be, but the Latin is mostly medieval Latin, so it's hard, yeah, to go sometimes through the differences. The main aim of the book is practically to achieve so-called beatific wisdom, the vision of God. Yeah, the practitioner is trying to see the first like creator, to get the wisdom. Yeah, it's impossible to see him, but there are many prayers there that should practically prepare the magician for this communion. The book states that although it is impossible to invoke the highest order of the angels that are practically only around the God, but it's strange. It's considered like a Christian God, but it has a lot of commonalities with the Gnostic understanding of the first creator, or of the highest ends of nothingness from which something is manifested. So these highest angel orders are so high that they can't be invoked. So what can be invoked is the spirits of the air, which are the lower angels. But as these authors wanted to avoid repercussions, they call the names that can be found in the book are actually the name of many times of the demons, or that are just considered as angels, but the name fallen angel is not mentioned here. Just to say that because it was allowed to do magic with angels in medieval times, in early medieval times. But if you would be invoking demons, that you will end practically on a stake. Yeah, you will be burned alive or undergo heavy torture. So it's practically hiding it. The spirits of the air are many times the lesser spirits, they call them even like lesser spirits, that can be commanded and to provide some kind of knowledge, very similar to the Abramelin book. It speaks also about the spirits of the earth that are practically demons. They recognize several archangels that are first invoked for protection, and then you work with these type of energies to give you the all of these type of medieval spells we know, like invisibility, riches, even like money, it can be given. Yeah, so only thing that is avoided is to raise the dead. Similar as to Abramelin magic, they say that it's possible, but they will not mention it in the book, so the spells of necromancy are forbidden. The book goes and is really written for someone that is deep in Christian faith. So if you are familiar, for example, with the way how the Christian prayers are done, like tertia, having prayers during specific times of the day, like monks had, this is something that you can use. The first part of the book is mentioning around 50 very specific and strange prayers. Some of them are very standard, like credo, you know, or the classical prayers. And some of them contain just the very strange name coming from Byzantium, Greek, Chaldean names, just names of the angels that should be prayed to, so your soul become purified. Yeah, the logic is like that before you start to speak with these angels, you have to undergo several months of these very intense prayers. And you have to construct something that is called the seal of God. And it was later on reconstructed. It was not originally part of the book. Only the later editions of Honorius, of the Sworn Book of Honorius, were reconstructing this image of the seal of God, the ultimate seal that contains a lot of power, and through this seal you can command all other powers. It is extremely complex description, and it's very hard to do it. So many people were just guessing how this sigil should look like. And if you create a sigil, if you purified it with purified water, if you understand the intricacies of the specific angles, names of the spirits there, you create it, and you can have it in a vellum, you can have it in your hand, and during the invocations you show this sigil to the spirits, and they are required to obey you. So they are Mr. Peterson is providing two versions of these sigils. One is very known, can be found on the internet, called the Seal of God. It's reconstructing according to the historical document, one of the versions of the Sworn Book of Honorius. I think it can be found in the British Library. I apologize if it's a different sort. The document, or the folio of the document, is called Sloan 313, and the sigil is like this, my friends. Not this one, but this one. Look at the complexity. It's unimaginable. And there is also another version that is in another folio, SSM L4, which is totally different, you know, but it also contains the names of the gods, the angles, the holy squares, and so on, in the center practically. So we still do not know how this sigil looked like. But the best because the sigil should be, or the seal should be also colored, and the best colored version is on the front of this book. So this is the seal of God, the first creator, first initial mover. Yeah. How it goes like, yeah, so if you undergo these very complicated prayers that you have to have several of them, and you have to pray for hours each day, you then ask practically the angels to give you a sign whether you can continue with this type of ritual. So first there are a lot of prayers, then there are 9 very specific type of prayers that are called terminus. And it takes hours to say these words. So, and then if you are ready, you go the process of the purification, which takes also more months, and you finish up with the invocation of the angels that take several days. Yeah, you are inside of the circle. You are having the seal of God. You are using practically very ceremonial items like sword, dagger, and so on. But it comes up with a very new tool that is never mentioned before. So only in the half of the 13th century they are coming up with a new magical tool, an innovation. They are using whistle to call the spirits. During the ritual, they whistle 7 times and call the spirits to come. And also proclaiming the many prayers and callings. But to go through it, yeah, they also show a very intricate version of, I would say, circle that should be used for the invocations. This circle was later on, I think, quite used also in Heptameron and elucidation of necromancy. I think it's the Lucidarium Artis Nigromantiae by Peter Abano. And I am going to speak about this book in our next review, because this is actually Peter of Abano, or it's attributed to him. He's maybe also not the author, but the Sworn Book of Honorius is practically a precursor to the Lucidarium, and the circles mentioned here are practically later on also used in the Lucidarium. Yeah, but I would say that the Lucidarium is a little bit more, not so heavy on the Christian prayers, but more on even necromantic evocations and so on. So it's the same as Heptameron. Yeah. So, but it's very interesting way and very interesting system that can be used by those that are still feeling a little bit connected to the Christian faith. I was looking at it like, what sort of prayers are here? And I was also reading them. I will not read the prayers where the names of angels are named. Also, the book contains so-called like the names of God. And during the ritual, you should say several. There are like 100 names of God that are very strange, coming from Byzantium, from Chaldean. Yeah, they are some nonsensical Greek names, and the names of God are used sometimes to call in the spirits. But the book starts with more easier prayers, yeah, like Holy Mary, the veneration of the Lord, and so on. And you can maybe skip this part of the video, but I can tell you that although it's a practical Christian grimoire, the book, the way of the prayers that are coming from are old. Yeah, sometimes they are even older. The grimoire is from the 13th century, but the book, the prayers there are from 10th century, and so on. So it's a beautiful poetry even. And then I was like looking at it, like what they are praying to. In the prayer 5 of the book, they are praying to Holy Mary. But let me read it to you. It's a little bit longer section, but this is the prayer that is very different from the prayers we know. And I think that there is a lot of Gnosticism in this type of prayer. It's not the typical Christian type of prayer. It's full of symbolism, thinking, feminine energies, and so on. So let me read it, and if you are bored with it, just skip for 1 minute. But I will say the prayer now, just for your illustration how the book works. I, an unworthy sinner, for the praise and honor of the most glorious and eternal Virgin Mary, Mother of our Lord Jesus Christ, of his secret names, Since I am unworthy, because of my meager perception, I take care to name with the Holy Spirit command. O glorious Mother of God, O Eternal Virgin Mary, do not deem me unworthy because of my great wickedness and innumerable iniquities, but mercifully and favorably accepted that which I, although unworthy, offer and desire for your honor. And so I wish to clearly name and exalt your holy names most conscientiously with my heart, with my mouth, and with my labor. So far, a Christian prayer, fully dedication to being cleansed from negative influences, to work with the spirits, calling this Mother of God, this feminine energy. And now the prayer continues. It's also in Latin, but I will speak it in English, sorry for my pronunciations. Now the magician starts to say the name of Virgin Mary, and I will let it up to you if you think that this is a Christian prayer. So you are named Mary, Creator, Mother, Bride, Daughter, Theotan, Rod, Vessel, Balsamus, Cloud, Dew, Peacemaker, the First, Queen, Dawn, Empress, Lady, Handmaiden, Risen, the Spring, the Well, the Way, the Life, the Path, the Brilliance, the Golden Star, the Light, the Moon, Glass Window, the Doorway, the Gate, the Curtain, the Chamber, the Home, Guest Room, the Receptacle, the Temple, the Hall, the Tabernacle, the Manna, Community, Free, the Stall, the River, the Bridge, the Grape, the Pomegranate, Female, Nurse, Woman, Power, Ship, Redemptress, Liberator, Friend, the Bedroom, the Valley, Cinnamon, the Turtle Dove, the Lily, the Rose, the Consolation, the Refuge, the Hope, the Salvation, the Glory, the Foundation, the True Medicine of Sinners, the Shrine of the Holy Spirit, the Root of Jesse, the Antidote, the Creatrix, Zion, the Girl, she who is compassionate. Beautiful, isn't it? There is a lot of symbolism in these prayers, deeply symbolistic prayers that are heavily Gnostic. So if we say that the book is just a Christian system, it's not entirely true. Although they proclaim that it's only for Christians, it contains a lot of paganistic knowledge, a lot of old symbols that are maybe just a little bit covered by the Christian understanding of Holy Mary, and maybe the prayer is going to the feminine energy, the Shekinah, or the representation of God through the feminine energy. My theory, but I let it up to you. There are so many other powerful prayers, but these are of the ritualistic way, and I will not proclaim the names of the angels out of respect. So some of them should be named very carefully according to the book. Speaking about workings, I, am currently doing a little bit combined system. I see that I'm undergoing, for example, the Abramelin ritual, but the Abramelin ritual also says to study the works and the books, so I'm returning back to this and finding a lot of hidden gems and knowledge in several systems. So If you are heavy in the left-hand path, again, this book is probably not meant for you. But if you are a little bit into Gnosticism, theurgy, want to work with the angelic energies and want to also connect with the spirits of the air and earth, we know that the spirits of the earth are practically demons, and also chthonic necromantic energies, this book can be used, but you have to be very you have to go through very deep very deep process of purification. And so those that are working a little bit with the Christian faith or can use the Christian prayers, maybe in Latin, very powerful. I like the beauty of the prayers. The system is intriguing. The sigil or of the god is also very interesting. It's not the best system, it's not the system that I would like to work with fully, but still I recommend this as maybe as a 4 stars. Why not 5? Why I feel that the Book of Abramelin is a little bit different, more superior, is that this is a book that was made a little bit later, and it takes a lot of information also from the older Gnostic literature. My approach on the things. Still very interesting if you are into ceremonial magic. It can be very powerful. 4 stars for me. Also, historically, this book is practically a base for the later famous medieval grimoires. Many grimoires are using the Sworn Book of Honorius later on, maybe in the upcoming 14th, 15th century. So this is what I want to discuss with you maybe next time. Is the elucidation of necromancy, Lucidarium Artis Nigromantiae, by Pietro of Abano, attributed to him. And it's again written by Mr. Joseph H. Peterson, so probably you can assume that it is of very high quality. Thank you very much, my friends. I thank you again. I hope you like the review, and please leave some comments and support the channel. Thank you for the 4,000 subscribers. We are growing. Thank you. Hello, my friends, again. There is something I wanted to share with you, because as I was finishing this video for you today, I got a message from a friend of mine, and I have decided to do maybe different video next time. Of course, elucidations of necromancy will be coming, but to be honest, I was informed just recently that there is a renowned member of our community that was recently commenting on some of my videos, mostly about King Paimon. It's okay to disagree, so I was okay with that, but I think that the way how it was commented and so on requires more explanation from my side. I mean, so I was told that I should probably study more grimoires before doing videos, so I decided to do it, and I am going to, as the person that had these comments on me, it's okay, so I have already read few books of the gentleman. To keep things short, I am going to review next time a very interesting book. I'm not going to, it's the author of the book is Mr. Arundel Overman, and I'm going to review his monstrous manual, Dungeons Dragons, okay, let's call it his illustrated Goetia. And so next time I think we will have a special edition, and maybe instead of really interesting elucidations of necromancy and academical peer-reviewed books, we are going to look on something more like a illustrated book. So I hope you will excuse me for a little bit of delay, but I think the next review will be really interesting. Thank you very much and have a great day.